Alright, dude, buckle up. Here's a fully simulated, high-density Destiny versus Peter Joseph dialogue tree built for exactly what you're asking. A rigorous exchange over capitalism versus a post-scarcity, moneyless system, integral NLRBE. We'll walk through 1. A core argument by Peter Joseph. 2. Destiny's counter-argument. 3. Peter's reply to that. 4. Syllogism with examples plus analogy at each turn. Topic: Is capitalism obsolete in the face of technological capability? Peter Joseph, opening statement. We no longer need money or market incentives to organize society. Technological automation, systems design, and resource tracking allow for direct allocation of goods and services based on physical need and sustainability, without exchange, debt, or profit. Syllogism. Premise 1. Human needs can now be met by automated, intelligent systems at scale. Example: hydroponic vertical farms can autonomously grow food with minimal human labor. Premise 2. Markets and money serve as mediators due to past scarcity and calculation limits, not present necessity. Example: in a pre-digital age, prices were useful proxies for scarcity, but now we have real-time inventory data and sensor networks. Conclusion: therefore, we no longer need markets or money to manage production or distribution. Analogy: using money in a post-scarcity world is like using Morse code in the age of smartphones. Destiny. Sure, we can automate some things, but the market is the only proven scalable mechanism that aligns incentives with innovation. Remove profit and you kill creativity, efficiency, and even basic accountability. Plus, who decides what's a need? And what if I want more than the system allocates? Syllogism. Destiny's view. Premise 1. People respond to incentives, especially financial ones. Example: billions were invested in AI research by private firms precisely because of profit motives. Premise 2. Innovation requires decentralized experimentation and risk-taking, which markets reward. Example: Tesla, SpaceX, hugely risky ventures succeeded due to capitalist investment, not centralized planning. Conclusion: eliminating markets would suppress innovation and reduce responsiveness to individual preferences. Analogy: removing markets is like removing evolution and expecting organisms to improve by committee. That assumes incentive must be extrinsic, but history and psychology show that intrinsic motivation, curiosity, purpose, contribution, drives deeper innovation. Most scientific progress wasn't profit-driven. Also, markets systematically ignore externalities and misallocate resources. They're efficient at maximizing profit, not well-being. Syllogism. Premise 1. Intrinsic motivation drives sustained, meaningful innovation. Example: Jonas Salk didn't patent the polio vaccine. Open-source developers build without profit. Premise 2. Market logic externalizes harm and fails at long-term planning. Example: fossil fuel companies knew about climate change decades ago, but hid the data to protect profits. Conclusion: market incentives distort priorities and suppress morally urgent innovation. Analogy: markets are like GPS systems that ignore cliffs. They optimize fast routes, not safe ones. Destiny's challenge: practicality and preference. But none of that solves the who decides problem. Who allocates scarce things? Who enforces it? What if I don't agree with what I'm entitled to? You can't handwave human nature away. Syllogism. Destiny's practicality point. Premise 1. Disagreement over needs, wants, and entitlements is inevitable in any population. Example: in socialist experiments like the USSR, centralized allocations led to corruption and shortages. Premise 2. Without voluntary exchange, coercion or rigid allocation must occur. Example: rationing systems force compliance. There's no negotiation. Conclusion: resource-based systems are vulnerable to authoritarian enforcement or inefficient distribution. Analogy: it's like building a symphony where no one's allowed to improvise or choose their instrument. Peter's counter to who decides. The system itself does, not people. Not politics. It's about applying the scientific method to social organization. You don't vote on gravity, you engineer around it. Needs are defined empirically. Nutrition, shelter, access. Preferences can be addressed dynamically within planetary limits. Syllogism. Peter's system design view. Premise 1. Objective needs can be defined scientifically based on human health and sustainability. Example, minimum caloric intake, clean water access, thermal comfort standards. These are measurable. Premise 2. Systems theory and sensor networks allow for adaptive, distributed resource management. Example, smart grids adjust electricity distribution in real time based on usage and load capacity. Conclusion. A post-market society can organize itself based on empirical data, not arbitrary authority. Analogy. Like a thermostat regulating a room. You don't argue with it, it just works. Dude, what happens next? At this point, you hit the impasse you mentioned. What's really dividing them? Variable. Peter Joseph. Destiny. Balances. Core value. Human well-being. Long-term survival. Voluntary choice. Dynamic competition. Trust in systems. High, if scientific and automated. Low, wants market checks and balances. View on human nature, plastic and improvable. Fixed, self-interested. Vision of progress, evolve past currency and scarcity. Optimize within incentive frameworks. Final synthesis. To move someone like Destiny, you'd need to 1. Prove empirically that innovation persists or accelerates in non-market systems. Examples are rare. 2. Demonstrate pilot models of scalable RBE-like systems without coercion or stagnation. 3. Frame integral as opt-in and pluralistic, not a replacement for capitalism, but an ecosystem alternative. Until then, Destiny likely defaults to. Your system sounds idealistic and theoretical. Capitalism might suck, but it works. Whereas Peter would say, capitalism only works until it doesn't, and the ecological clock is ticking.